Do they guitar one more time?
Like an air guitar child will come in and clash. We're back for another episode of Track Car Stuff. It's Cam and I today. Dylan will be here tomorrow. The agenda for today is going to be to prep and paint the bay just with POR 15, nothing crazy quality. And I'm going to reinforce the diff arms like I did on Dylan's car and my car. So we're going to carry you through that and we'll pick you up as we go. So on camera, I painted this along with all the other control arm suspension bits that are tucked around the shop. What we are going to do, I clearly made some overspray here. I'm going to separate this housing from the backside. We're going to press these old rubber bushings out. I'm going to weld and reinforce because the Torsens have this little notch guy right here, or these two notches, and then paint the whole thing, reseal it, put new axle seals in it, and the diff will be ready to go in the car, even though we're not there yet, but might as well utilize what we have right now. And then while I'm doing that, Cam, who's wearing a blue shirt again, different blue shirt, but a blue shirt, is gonna disassemble the bay and kind of clean it up, wire wheel all the stuff off, and then we're gonna, in red POR 15, go over the whole thing. So I'm gonna cut back and forth between what I'm doing and what he's doing, just to give you guys progress as we're going along. Dylan's not coming today. So I guess this housing is not coming off because I rounded the living bejesus out of this. If ever need be, I can weld something onto there and take it off, but it was just a nicety, so we'll do without it. I've done plenty of them without it. I'll just mask this lip while I paint the rest. So let's get to cleaning it up. We will see if we can push these bushings out now. I'll use Cam's muscles to help me move it over there. We tried the press, couldn't get it to fixture right. We tried a 3-jaw puller, which is obviously a bad idea because you can break the lips, which we didn't, thankfully.
It slipped off though.
Yes, I've tried heat, and I've tried chiseling it out just by hand. I've done it before, just on a less crusty diff. So what I'm gonna do, we don't have an air compressor here, so I'm gonna bring it home tonight once it's all welded up, which I'm gonna do next. Bring it home tonight, and I'll bring my air hammer home, and in my driveway, I'm just gonna blast them out real quick. And then tomorrow when I come back, I'll press the new bushings in. But next, I'm gonna wire wheel all this stuff. It's gonna be really hot right now, so I'm not gonna touch it, but wire wheel all this stuff, prep it for welding, and then I'll throw it on the table and weld it up. And that'll pretty much be it for the diff for today, sadly. But Cam is working.
Yeah, I'm taking the brake booster out right now, wiper motor, stuff like that. And then we're gonna go in and wire wheel all this crust off and then tape it off and give it a nice coat of the red POR 15 so it looks all pretty. You know, good enough for a track car,
yeah,
but nicer than this.
Right, so that's next, but we'll pick you up when we're making some progress. Bay's vacuum. Cam's got a couple things left to unbolt. As you guys saw, I wire wheeled this whole setup and I just ran some acetone over the whole thing. It's not the greatest. This is like the worst metal ever. I hated doing Dylan's car. But this is clamped into place. I'm just gonna tack this in a couple spots and then put the top plate on. Well, fill that hole, put the top plate on, tack that in a couple spots, and then I'll go around and weld the whole thing. It is gonna be nasty. The welds are gonna look like garbage. I'm just calling it now, so be ready for that. First thing, preheat the whatever you're working. This stuff, I didn't preheat it last time. I think that was part of my problem, so I'm just gonna hit it with a MAP gas torch for a good while and we'll get it nice and too hot to touch. So I ended up taking an angle grinder to all the diff housing metal, and it worked a lot better. So like you can see here, it's not as dirty as it is over here, or like over here where I couldn't get the angle grinder in. Way better than the job that I did on Dylan's car. Sorry, Dylan. But welded all the way around, filled the little cracks that were right there. I'm not gonna touch it because it's like 1,000 degrees. But yeah, so I used more heat. I used ER 5356. There we go. TIG rod. So if you're doing this, that worked really well. That was a Curtis Motion tip. And then just cleaned it really well, preheated it with a MAP gas torch, and it seemed to work all right. So yeah, sweet. Happy with that one. Cam's made some progress too. This is all wire wheeled out. So all the rust that was in there, surface rust is gone. He's took up like everything. Brake booster, clutch master, all the stuff over there is undone. So I'm gonna give him a hand now, cleaning the rest of this up, and then we're gonna throw some POR 15 on it, and we'll call it a day for today. We got everything wiped out to the best of our abilities. Good enough for the track car. So we are gonna put some gloves on and get to using this extremely bright red POR 15. It's self-leveling, so it's super nice. It's obviously not gonna look, you know, showroom finish, but it'll be better than that is, and it'll be uniform, and yeah, it'll be good enough. So I'm gonna put this on a tripod, and you can watch us make a mess of ourselves. It's so good. To say we were skeptical when we started is an understatement. Yeah, it went on pretty thin and streaky the first coat. This is like, I'd say 1.5 coats, and there's places that it's still light and whatnot, but it's still too wet to do a second coat. So like you can see, that's what the first coat looks like. There's like streaks and stuff in it. So yeah, I mean, from here, it looks incredible. And tomorrow, once we do, we'll call it the rest of the second coat and a little bit of the third. Yeah, we got a little drippies in some places, but we also didn't do under the wires yet. So tomorrow, when it's dry, we'll move all the wires over that way, do those sections. And good enough for race car is an understatement, because this came out super good. We're gonna paint everything from that line down black with spray paint, not with POR 15. It kind of sucks to do, not gonna lie. It took a long time. We're gonna do the inside of the car with white POR 15, and that's gonna take a long time. So
Dylan can do that.
Yeah, we'll leave that for Dylan. So for now, for today, this is all set. I'm shocked. Like, I'm just gonna stand back here.
And it looks like, even better on camera. Like,
yeah, it looks, I'm surprised. So we're pretty pumped. We're still planning on cutting this out and making it removable so we can like install an engine from the front, which would be sick. And but yeah, so that's that. And then probably gonna finish it up in this episode. I won't drop you guys like that. So I'm gonna go home and air hammer out those bushings, and then tomorrow we'll hit that with some silver POR 15, paint the back half of that. That'll look fresh. This will look fresh. We'll bring some black spray paint probably and do that bottom section just to kill the engine bay, because once that is done, we can install the subframe, which I'll show you guys now.
Also looks fresh.
Also looks fresh. So we can install things like this guy. This is also POR 15. Definitely not show quality, but way better than, you know, rusty. And Cam's got all the control arms that I did up. We got to put bushings into these. That'll be a whole nother episode. But yeah, so this all looks fresh. It's gonna look sick. This is all wrapped up, and yeah, this is like the first progress I feel like we've made on the car physically. Everything else has been off the car.
It's the first time we put something back into it.
Yes.
Everything else was taken away, and now we're doing something to it.
And now that we've done this, we can start, and like, those are all parts for the track car. Those are all parts for the track car.
I think
there's
more at your house.
Yeah, the whole roll bar is showing up at my house. Or not roll bar, sorry, roll cage. Full lemon spec roll cage is showing up at my house today, if it's not there already. And then, so we'll start welding that stuff in. We have everything to make some crazy progress, finally. So we're gonna start working on the motor and all sorts of things like that. But we'll pick you guys up tomorrow. I've been rambling on for 3 minutes, so I'll pick you up tomorrow. We'll wrap this up, and I'll show you the diff when that's all set, and that'll be it. So see you guys tomorrow.
Spike.
And we're back, this time with Dylan. So this morning, reluctantly, these bushings came out. Took like 120 psi with the air hammer, and you can tell it's like upstate New York Rust Belt crustiness. So we're gonna clean that up, kind of get all the crusty dust off this thing, and then paint it, put diff bushings in, the Delrin ones that we've got, and then replace the axle seals, and then this thing will be good to go. Cam is going to put a second coat on this beautiful engine bay. It's still tacky, which is not really a surprise because it's kind of cold, so it's going to take a while for it to dry. That's the plan for this. He's going to press some bushings out of a set of lower control arms we've got from my car, and then Dylan is going to work on painting the last piece, which is that rear subframe back there. And once that is done, we will be all set as far as suspension goes. We're waiting on a couple parts to put that stuff together, but it'll be nice to have, you know, that thing checked off the list, and then we'll get working on the engine and stuff like that. So today, that's the plan. We'll pick you up randomly as we go. We'll probably kind of toss the camera around, but let's get to work.
So we're using Port 15. I'm sure most people know about this stuff. You can slather it over like everything. Stefan was even scoffing at me about how much I was going at this with brake clean and whatnot, but highly recommend this. We've also used some stuff from Tractor Supply, but this is really easy, right on Amazon, link down below. Need to like put the bracket like way off. That's all. We're too lined up. Nice. Okay. Sick. Seems to be fine. So just gonna
If and when that day comes.
exactly.
I'll get you set.
The nice thing is it's already been out once.
Yep. Multiple times. I took it out too.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the first time we met, I think.
Yeah, it was in person, and it wasn't even at my place.
No.
And you had just come from the DeLorean for the first time.
Yeah. So that's a wrap. Engine bay is painted to, we'll call it race car spec. The diff is all ready to go in the car. Every subframe component, suspension component, everything is painted. Bushings are pressed out. So that's it for this episode. And then next we're
Yeah, next we get into this business end of the race car. We're going to start with prepping the engine and really just kind of work our way from the front to the back. So that's going to entail just like cleaning up the engine that we have far behind us, your standard stuff. It's nothing special, just going through gaskets, cleaning things up, that sort of thing.
So yeah, timing belt, Miata coolant reroute or cobalt coolant reroute, and yeah, simple, reliable, beat the hell out of it, tracks out. So
yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna start getting into some of the partners that we're working with. Moss is gonna be one of the first ones we'll touch on with that coolant reroute, but the fun stuff is starting now.
Yeah, the tedious stuff is hopefully over. So
yeah, so stay tuned. You guys know the drill. Subscribe and follow along because we're getting build season started.